our third in a series of, now I've decided it'll be 3 sessions with very similar exercises, building on each week to different poses and strength and stability focus. So let's start again on our mat, and for anybody that may have missed the fun from the last 2 sessions, we'll make up for it today. Making sure that everybody gets a fair shake of the fun. So easing our way down 1 vertebrae at a time, we'll start in supported bridge pose. Finding our feet firmly planted on the mat, about hip width apart. The knees are stacked over the ankles. Just wiggling around until we find a calm placement for the rest of our body. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and take a few cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Noticing the muscles in our faces soften, our bodies melting into the mat, and our awareness coming to the breath, in through the nose and out through the nose. Noticing the cooling sensation in the back of our nasal cavity and throat, and the warming sensation with the exhalation. Noting any distractions, sensations, or thoughts. And like clouds in our blue sky minds, just letting them go and continue to float past. Possibly setting an intention or an affirmation for today's practice. Something that may have resonated with us since our last practice or that occurred today during our day. Crossing our right ankle over our left knee, and we'll hug the left knee in. Option to keep the head on the ground or to lift it up, whatever feels good at this point as we slowly start to warm up. Option, of course, to rock side to side to start getting a sense of the sensations in the back of the right leg and maybe even the hip flexor of the left. And a gentle massage of the spine. Once again, we'll start with a little warm-up with some abdominal work. So coming to stillness in our figure 4, releasing the arms and bringing the right leg and thigh to hover above the earth about 2 inches. Slowly starting to feel the left oblique light up. And once you've found some stability there, go ahead and reach the arms over the left hip. Engaging the obliques. Trying to keep a steady rhythm of breath. Using the exhalations to bring calm to our nervous system. Let's hold here for 2 more breaths. Maybe lifting a bit higher. And we lower all the way back down. And go ahead and switch sides. So left ankle comes over the right thigh, hugging it in to start. Again, rocking side to side if that feels good. Maybe noticing different sensations on this side of the body. Coming back to stillness in the center. Stacking the right knee over the right hip and go ahead and lower to the left so that the left thigh is hovering, finding our stability here, and then go reaching up beyond the right hip with both arms. Focusing on our breath. 2 more times, reaching a little bit higher as possible. And we release back down to the mat. Yay for that. Go ahead and extend the feet all the way over the hips, flexing, pointing the toes down towards the forehead, opening up the back of the legs. We're going to add in some scissors with our elongated arms reaching above our heads. And each time we move the legs, we chop to the outside, then the inside, and then we switch legs. So I'm going to look a little bit like this. Inhaling, we reach. Exhaling, we chop. Inhaling, we reach. Switching legs. Chopping inside, outside, outside, inside, whichever. And then switching legs. Pausing in that scissor hold, really challenging the abdomen. Using the breath to power the exertion. Let's try for 1 more on each leg. Good. Finishing that, go ahead and reach the arms and the legs long, arching the lower back. Reconnecting with our steady rhythm of breath, in through the nose and out through the nose. Drawing the breath all the way through to the abdomen, stretching it out. 1 more big breath. Good. Relaxing the back, melting it back into the earth, and then hugging both legs in, maybe a little bit wider this time. And we've got 1 final movement focused on our abs. We're going to come all the way up into a boat. So slowly rocking ourselves up, keeping our legs hovered above the earth, possibly in a C-sit here, bringing our arms straight and releasing as possible. Option to hold here, option to straighten the legs, option to do a dynamic motion, reaching down into a modified hollow hold, and then coming back into the boat, reaching beyond the knees, maybe even tapping the ankles. That feels like an accomplishment. Go for it. Inhaling, we reach back. Exhaling on the exertion, we reach forward. Two more, either movements or breaths. Yay for that. Releasing out of that, coming all the way down. One more time, reaching, arching the lower back, opening up the abdomen. Deep breaths in and through. Taking the opportunity to stretch out the back of the neck as we tuck the chin into our chest. Great. Feeling the warmth, hopefully, in the lower back and the abdomen. And we're going to roll ourselves up gently into all fours, into our down dog sequence. Well done. Good. So knees are going to be underneath our hips. Hands are underneath our chest. We're going to float through a similar flow that we did earlier this week, but of course we're going to add onto it. Some more fun. Taking a moment here to shift side to side, maybe adding lateral flexion, looking back to the feet. We want to make sure that our spines are warm. Good. Coming back to center, curling our toes under our shins, we lift up. And just take a moment here to pedal out, to get a sense of the sensations in the back of the legs, the neck, maybe even the lower back. Pressing both heels towards the earth. And a gentle pulsing motion may feel good. Good. Lifting our left leg all the way off the mat. Holding here just for a few breaths to get a sense of elongation through the back of the right leg. Good. Rotating the hips, bending the knee. Noticing what's happening in the lower back on the left side. Starting to feel a little energy generating through the right arm. And we're going to float into our plank. So floating all the way forward, bringing that left knee to the right elbow. Go ahead and lift up on the right fingertips, maybe even reaching the right arm long, planting the foot for stability. Feel those obliques that we've just worked. Good, go ahead into your falling star. Reaching the pelvis up, engaging the glutes to press forward. Excellent. Bringing the right hand back down to the earth. Tucking the left knee to the right elbow. Good pause here. And then go ahead, pivot the foot and extend the left leg all the way back up. Resetting the left foot, pedal it out, take a few breaths here. And then go ahead and reach the right leg all the way up. Taking our few breaths, feeling all of the weight shift to the left leg. Working to generate a bit more heat in the left arm. And go ahead and rotate the hips, bending the knee. Checking in with the lower back on the right side, the left arm, the left shoulder. Feeling the energy rushing through. And then we float into our plank, right knee to left elbow. Good. Maybe coming up on the left fingertips. Maybe lifting the left arm, planting the left foot for stability, engaging the obliques on the right side. Sorry, my blood was all rushing to that. And go ahead and reach into your fallen star. Pressing the glutes in order to lift the hips. And replace the hand onto the earth, bringing the right knee back to the left elbow, pausing here, and then pivoting back, extending the right leg. Yay for that. Lowering the right foot, paddling it out. We'll come down into a child's pose here to get off of our wrists for a few breaths. Option to make fists, rolling the fists inwards. Option, of course, to bring the hands on top of the back, lifting, getting a little bit of a stretch through the chest as well as the upper arms, whatever feels good. One more breath here. Then we'll draw ourselves back up into all fours. Curling the toes into the shins, all the way back up into our down dog. Great. Lifting, once again, the left leg all the way off the mat. Now we're going to float through into our plank. This time bringing the left knee to the right elbow. Inhaling, exhaling, extending all the way back up. Inhale, we float into our plank, crossing the knee across to the opposite elbow. Option on the extension to bend the knee and rotate the hips, your choice. Listening to our lower backs, creating strength and stability throughout the body while also opening up the back of the right leg. Melting our chest and our armpits towards the earth each time we press back. Keeping our obliques engaged. Let's do 2 more. Using the breath to power us and to maintain our inner calm strength. Great, bring the left foot down, pedal that out. Maybe shifting the hips left to right. You may feel this running all the way down to the ankle, into the foot. Bending one knee, maybe exaggerating the shift of the weight. One more big breath here. Good. We reset back into our down dog, ready to do the same on the right side. So lifting the right leg off the mat. When you're ready, go ahead and float into the plank. Right knee comes to left elbow. Extending back out. Straight leg or a rotation up to you. Finding length in the back of the leg. And the lengthening of the entire spine. Gripping into the earth with our hands, our fingers, the knuckles. Let's do 2 more. Appreciating the heat regenerating. Go ahead and lower the foot down. Floating all the way forward into a normal plank. Lowering down into our forearms. Go ahead and give the wrists a little bit of a break as we reset here. Coming into a forearm plank, sideways, lifting the arm. Option here, if you're feeling strong and stable today, go ahead and reach for the big toe, lifting the leg as an option. A star is also a possibility. Challenging yourself to your ability today. Pressing the earth away with the forearm, creating space in the shoulder and the neck. And we rotate back to center. Well done. Catching our breath here, keeping the torsos parallel to the floor. And we rotate over to the opposite side, stacking or scissoring the feet. Trying out whichever position works best on each side. Checking in with the breath. Keeping the hips high. Good job. Lowering the foot, coming all the way back into our plank. Thrusting the hips back up. Dolphin pose. Inhale, we lower. Exhale, dolphin. Go ahead and float through this. Inhaling back parallel to the earth. Exhaling back. Feeling the shoulders working, abdomen, and the quadriceps as we engage them, lifting the kneecaps. Let's do 2 more. Good control, calm, strength. Well done. Let's bring the knees down and sink back into a child's pose. Resetting here. Shifting or finding stillness, whatever feels best at this point. Again, option to bring the hands behind the back. Stretching out the shoulders. Maybe even rolling the forehead left to right. Additional activation of the pressure points in the forehead. Well done. One more big breath here. Sighing it out with smiles on our faces. And we inhale back up to all fours. Option, of course, to grab a sip of water. We're going to reset and make our way into a crescent lunge. So deep breaths in. On the exhale, we lift our hips back into our down dog as our starting point. Inhaling, lifting the left leg off the earth again. Gazing forward, coming up onto the toes of our right foot, and we step all the way through into a very high crescent lunge, staying up on the back toes. Inhaling, we reach all the way up. Finding our stability with even weight between both legs. Checking down to make sure we can see the toes of the left foot. Slowly generating a bit of heat in the left quadricep. Feeling the dynamic tension all the way through both legs, maybe even the arms at this point. Good. Inhale, straightening the front leg. Exhale, we float back down. Option to bring the arms into it. Option to bring the hands to the hips. One in front, one behind. Finding somewhere to gaze at. And moving to the flow of our breath. Two more. Good. Back in our crescent lunge. Making sure our shoulders are rolled back and down. Drawing the shoulder blades together. No doubt you're starting to feel the heat in the left quadricep. We'll be here for a few more breaths. Keeping a bend in the back right knee if that feels better on the lower back. Great. Straightening both legs, coming to center, pointing the feet forwards. We're going to hinge forward, coming into a forward fold. Bringing the hands down to the earth. Widening the stance of our legs as needed. Hinging at the hips. Putting a little bit more weight in the balls of our feet. Option here to float the arms over our head. Option to grab onto both toes. Just as a little leverage to draw ourselves a little bit closer to the earth. Drawing the torso back parallel to the floor, elongating the spine. And we lift ourselves up, bringing our hands to our hips, engaging the legs. Good. And we pivot over to the opposite side. So the right foot this time is in front. We're on the balls of the left foot. Coming back into our crescent lunge, checking in with our positioning. Go ahead and reach the arms up above the shoulders when you get here. Finding our stability between both legs. Gentle back bend. Breathing deeply into the back of the throat. Good. And we lift up on the inhale. On the exhale, we come back down. Floating the arms or finding placement for them as most comfortable. Again, a small bend in the back of the left knee may help prevent any strain on the lower back. Two more. And we come back to our crescent lunge, holding here. Calm strength. Dynamic tension of the upper body, pressing the palms together, pressing the shoulder blades back and down. Feeling the left hip flexors start to light up, as well as the right quadricep. Just checking in, maybe sinking a little bit lower. I see that I floated up a little bit. Starting to feel my right quadricep shake. Adding a micro bend in my left knee for my lower back. 2 more breaths. Great, straightening all the way up, bringing our feet forward, pivoting into our wide angle, forward fold. Yay for that. Option, of course, to draw your forehead to one side at a time. Just finding whatever pose feels best for your body. Maybe even reaching the opposite arm over the back, if that feels good. Creating an additional space and length in the back of the legs. Slowly transitioning to the other side if you chose to do one side at a time. Noting any different sensations on this side to the other. Being gentle, honoring the state of our body. And coming back, meeting up in center. Inhaling, lifting the torso, pressing the earth away. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach back up, pressing the earth away. And slowly walk the feet in and out, hip width apart. Forward fold here, micro bend in the knees as needed. Grabbing onto the elbows, shifting our weight left to right. Bending the knees. Good. Finding stillness in our forward fold. Arms and roll ourselves all the way up, one vertebrae at a time, shoulders, neck, and head. Great. Resetting here. Taking a deep breath in. Good. Doing a little bit more stability work here, but we're not done with burning our quadriceps. Bringing our right leg off the earth. We're going to start off by bringing the right leg up, 90 degrees, foot is flexed. Hands to heart center or on our hips. And we're going to slowly move into a squat, stepping our foot out, and then bringing the right knee back up. 90 degrees, flexed foot. Finding a flow, stepping between the two. Starting to create a little bit of dynamic movement here to force our muscles to stabilize and our brains to concentrate on what we're doing. Slow and steady. Moving to the rhythm of our breath. That may mean slowing the breath down. Pausing at the bottom of each inhalation or exhalation. Let's do 2 more. Feeling the grounding of our left foot into the mat. Last one here. Bringing our leg all the way back up to 90 degrees. Option to hold here. Option to straighten the leg. Option to grab onto the toes and extend out. We haven't done this in a long time. Option to hold straight forward, opening it up to the side, challenging your own strength and stability. We are going to meet up in our tree pose at some point. Whenever that suits you, go ahead, tuck in, no rush. Once you get into your tree pose, reach the branches high, turning the arms so that the pinkies are pointed forward, opening a little space in the upper back and through the chest and shoulder span. Actively pressing the knee to the back of the room. Finding our inner calm. Good. Final pose in this sequence, we're floating into a warrior 3. Option to bring the hands back down, option to keep them extended, floating the right leg high, coming into a tabletop as possible, really generating more heat in the left leg. Micro bend in the knee as needed. Keeping the right hip squared to the earth. We're not rotating into a half moon today. But we will float downwards into a standing split. Yay for that. Pressing into the left leg, lifting the right leg high, hinging at the hip. Great. Go ahead and float the right leg all the way back down, shaking it out in our forward fold, shifting the weight left to right. Now, once we find our stability here and our stillness, we'll roll ourselves up one more time like a rag doll. Shoulders, neck, and head. Resetting. And we'll do the same sequence on our left leg. So bringing the left leg off the mat, 90 degrees, flexing the foot. Hands wherever is most suitable. And when we're ready, we float into our squat. Feeling the gripping of our right foot, grounding us to the earth. Slow and steady movement with the breath. Keeping our torsos tall. Let's do 3 more. Shoulders are not up around our ears. Pressing them down and back. Last one here. And we come all the way back up. 90-degree leg. Again, option to extend the leg, option to stay here, option to grab the toe, straight out, or on an angle. Option to come straight into your tree pose. However you feel most challenged today. Once again, once you arrive to your tree pose, we create space in the shoulders, rotating the pinkies forward, actively pressing the left knee back towards the wall. Checking in with the grounding of our right foot. For a tree to be tall and strong, it must start with firm grounding. Floating our way into a warrior three, finding placement for the hands, either on our hips, in our prayer pose, or at the side of our heads. Making sure the left hip is still firmly grounded towards the mat. The foot is flexed. We keep a micro bend in the right knee as needed. Options for the arms, so many. We do what feels best on our lower back and for our stability. And of course, whenever you're ready, go ahead and float down to our single leg split. Lifting the left leg high, pressing the right knee back, and curling our chins into our chest. Good. Lowering our left foot behind the right foot this time. Torso is tall, and then we hinge forward gently. Walking our hands around to the right. Two more breaths here. Walk our hands back to the front, bringing the left foot this time over the right. And when you're ready, go ahead and walk the hands over to the right side, or of course, holding onto the knee or the shin. Breathing length into the side of the leg, breathing comfort and lightness into any areas of discomfort. Two more breaths. And we walk our hands back to center, bringing the feet, unlacing them, sinking ourselves all the way down into a malasana. Reaching the arms parallel to the floor, tucking our chins into our chest. Option to find stillness or to wiggle left to right. Lowering our head between the arms. Breathing the spine long, creating space between each vertebrae. And nourishing all the tissues that run alongside the spine. And bringing our hands to heart center. Pressing the inner thighs away with our elbows, lifting the torso tall. Good. Bringing our awareness back to our calm, steady rhythm of breath. We release out of that, coming into fire logs, bringing one leg on top of the other, as close or as narrow as you'd like. Option, of course, to bring the knees on top. Depends on where you feel the energy most and where you might need a little bit of extra release. Lifting our arms over our shoulders on the inhale, exhaling, hinging forward fully. Bringing our hands to the earth, slowly melting our way forward as the hips and the glutes allow, releasing a little bit of tension that we often hold back here can also help pain in our lower back and our knees. Slowly walking our hands back in. Inhaling, reaching the arms all the way back over our shoulders and rotating to one side. Bringing our back hand up on the fingertips to elongate the spine, looking over the shoulder. Inhaling, reaching all the way back up, centering ourselves and lowering to the opposite side. External rotation, lifting ourselves up with the fingertips, looking over the shoulder. Breathing into any areas of discomfort that we might feel in our upper back or neck. One more breath here. And on the next inhale, we reach all the way back up, bringing ourselves to the center. Exhale, hands to heart center. Extending the legs out in front of us before switching sides. Go ahead and give the legs a wiggle. Good. Wiggle the ankles, that might feel good. And then fire logs on the opposite side. Fire logs, or of course easy seated if that's more comfortable. And once we get here, we lift our arms all the way up and we hinge forward. Slowly melting towards the earth, releasing tension in the back hip, the back of the leg, the lower back. Slowly melting, enjoying the heat that we've generated and the benefits that it will bring to releasing some of the blocked energy, melting it away, and gaining a little bit of flexibility in the process. Lifting our torsos on the inhale, Go ahead and walk the hands over to one side, feeling the stretch through the side body and lower back. Keeping our sit bones firmly grounded. Great. Inhaling, lifting the torso, walking all the way over to the other side. Deep breaths in, and on the exhale, go ahead and lower down. Creating space, breathing deeply, massaging the whole side of the body. Inhaling, lifting the torso, pressing the earth away, walking all the way back to center, stacking the vertebrae, rounding out. And then we reset, rolling the shoulders, lifting the torso, extending the legs all the way out. Coming into our staff pose here. Inhaling, reaching up over the shoulders. And on the exhale, we rotate. Forward folding, reaching behind us, holding here. Keeping the toes flexed. Breathing into the upper back and neck. Continuing to hold ourselves here. We're going to tuck our knee in on that same side. Option to do a gentle rotation, lifting the torso. Option to grab onto the toe and extend the leg long. Continuing to hold one of the 3 different types of rotation, whatever suits you. Bringing the leg back down, rolling the shoulders, coming into our butterfly, bringing the soles of the feet together, wrapping our hands around, pressing the knees away, tall spine, and go ahead and hinge forward. Actively pressing the knees towards the floor, hinging forward, feeling the back of the hips slide up a little bit. Dynamic tension through the whole body. We're lifting the chest through the arms. Neck is neutral, in line with the spine. Good. Go ahead and release that back into our Dandasana. Flexing the feet, toes are pointed up. Inhaling, reaching the arms above the shoulders. And on the exhale, we rotate, hinging forward, reaching back. Looking back towards our hands. Again, breathing into any areas of discomfort in the upper back and neck. Tucking our knee into our chest, bringing our torso back up, either rotating with our arm, looking back beyond us, or lifting our foot to whatever feels most beneficial to you today. one last time, extending all the way out, inhaling, reaching the arms up. Exhaling, we hinge forward. Reaching towards the feet, maybe on the shins, the ankles, around the feet, depending on how you're feeling at this point, now that we're all warmed up. Slowly melting our way to the earth. Last chance to get into the back of the legs, elongating them, maybe even visualizing heat from the sun, sunlight floating through the back of our legs, creating more space and light. Rolling ourselves up one vertebrae at a time, pointing the feet. Go ahead and roll the ankles around. That'll feel good on the calf muscles as well, I'm sure. And lowering ourselves all the way down into Shavasana, one vertebrae at a time. Shoulders, neck, and head. Go ahead and hug the knees in, wrapping the arms around. Option to keep the head lifted or to lower it back to the earth. Taking a moment here to reflect on any intention we may have set at the beginning of our practice. Drawing all of the energy inwards. And now releasing ourselves all the way back down to the mat, elongating the legs, bringing the hands down, noticing the contact our bodies make underneath us. Running through a body scan from head to toe to get a sense of the mood of the body, any change of energy from the beginning of our practice. Taking a moment to allow the practice to integrate into our bodies and minds. And finishing off with an affirmation or a message of gratitude. Perhaps being thankful for something that has happened in the past few days, made us feel very loved, supported, happy, worthy. And in your own time, floating your way back to the present moment. I wish you a lovely evening ahead, and thank you very much for joining me in today's practice. Namaste.